Love it. The Grinch, it was a good and great movie. Even though it boring, it stills bring us heartwarming. Finally, a movie that we liked.
Welcome to Movie Versus. I'm Emily.
And I'm Dakota. Today we'll be taking a look at The Grinch, which is a remake of the 1966 classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and the 2000 classic starring Jim Carrey. Also a Ron Howard film.
Happy Thanksgiving. Fun fact about the Jim Carrey Grinch movie, the suit was covered in yak hair. The application of the suit took 4 hours.
Every single day.
And by the end of it, Jim Carrey kicked down a door in anger.
He was so upset with it.
So get this, the production brought in a CIA operative who instructed agents how to endure extreme torture techniques to coach Carrey to remain calm during the process.
He did. He managed it. And by the end of the production process, he was a Zen master.
Yeah, he had spent 72 days in Grinch makeup.
Oh my God. For those two of you who have never seen a Grinch movie, The Grinch is about an angry green man thing named the Grinch who hates Christmas and tries to steal it away from all of the Who's down in Whoville because he thinks that'll make him happier. But then singing makes him feel bad about it and he returns all the Christmas to the Who's.
In my opinion, this is the most superior Grinch.
Wait a second. Let's get into what this movie did really well. As this is a remake of the original film, and the original is only 25 minutes long, and this is about an hour and a half, they clearly had to add a lot of stuff. For this version, they took that initial story and they really just padded it out with a lot of fun details and backstory and character development that was really strong.
Not only did the story become more whole, but it also became more wholesome.
Wow.
This one really tugged at my heartstrings. So going off what we were saying about this being like a reboot and the film feeling a bit more fleshed out, I thought that the pacing was seamless. Like I was sitting in my seat and I was like, this is slick AF. I feel like all the scenes were necessary and provided like valuable information on characters and world building, and I didn't feel like anything was very superfluous.
I agree. I thought the plot was very well paced. I didn't have any problem with it. I never felt bored. And I was just very invested in all of the characters throughout the movie. Even the moments where there were scenes that were just to serve as a joke still had little bits of character development and tiny plot elements that made the story continue moving forward.
All right, let's talk about Benny Cummy. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was great in this film, along with everyone else. Finally, we have an accent that actually works.
Small child, December 20th, rapidly searching for a really important lost letter. Might it be your list of demands to Santa?
I mean, he is Doctor Strange. So
That's true, but you couldn't even tell. You can tell it's Benedict Cumberbatch and it's Doctor Strange. You couldn't tell it was him.
the only times that I could tell it was him was during grunts, for some reason.
He does grunt a lot. But I really liked his character. It took the character of the mean Grinch and it really filled out his story. It gave him reasons for not liking Christmas because he felt excluded from it as a kid when he was in an orphanage. They also showed a lot of good examples of him being mean. There was the moment where he tipped the jar off of the shelf. There was a moment where he knocked decorations down. There were a bunch of times where he just ignored people who were trying to be all festive with him in town. But then throughout the movie, it would slip in little moments of him feeling something and kind of getting pulled into the Christmas spirit, but then he would force himself out of it.
You will want to unwrap it and play with it. But you must not!
So throughout the movie, you could see the build to the end where he did change, and it wasn't such a sudden change.
The Grinch has a significant character arc. He wants to destroy Christmas, and at the end, he loves Christmas. And I feel like that's a really hard thing to pull off, but this movie totally succeeded.
That's something in the old one, it just kind of happens suddenly. Granted, that's only 25 minutes long, so they didn't have enough time really to do this.
In the original TV special, the reason we see for the Grinch not liking Christmas is that whole sequence of the Who's just being obnoxiously loud. And I don't know, that's not super emotionally compelling for me.
I kind of get it though.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm glad that this time we actually had a reason to relate to him.
Yeah.
My family never really celebrated Christmas.
Okay.
So from a character standpoint, I really understand where the Grinch is coming from, because all around me, people are excited for the holiday seasons, and I'm just like, ugh, these schmucks and their positivity. So I really related to him on that front, actually.
And another thing that made him a character you cared about was his relationship with Max, his dog. It was really sweet because he really clearly cared about Max, and Max just wanted to help him out. He wanted to see his master succeed. He didn't care that what he was doing was bad. He was just so wholesome.
And then even realistically, Max got fed up with the Grinch. The Grinch's negativity was just too much for Max at one point, and they even have conflict. I could have used a moment when the Grinch adopts Max or something. Maybe Max is the last animal in the animal shelter. I feel like that could have strengthened their emotional bond even more. I thought Cindy Lou was really well fleshed out in this movie too. She's very determined, and she has this cute goal of, wanting to make her mom's life a little bit easier. That's something that I can root for.
What I'm wishing for is really, really important.
Yeah. The only problem I had with that, the movie wants you to think that her mother has a really tough life and that she's working herself to death and she has no time for herself or anything. But she seems to have it under control pretty well. You don't see her mother struggling all that much.
Yeah, she can toss 2 pieces of toast straight into the toaster.
That's just straight up like Spider-Man. That was my only real gripe with the Cindy Lou plot line, was the fact that I didn't see the struggle of her mom. So I think I could have done to see a little bit more struggle. Also, they both had "Can I speak to a manager" haircuts, and I didn't like that.
No, I liked her little braids.
Her braids were cute. It was the flow.
The flow?
It was the flow. And then her mom's headband. She was like a yoga mom who would go into Sears and be like, excuse me, before even seeing anything.
I just want to say one more thing about Cindy Lou. She wants to intercept Santa. And I thought by introducing that goal early on in the film, when she catches the Grinch stealing Christmas, that moment is so much more powerful than this little 2-year-old walking in and be like, oh, who are you?
Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
The Grinch also added some other characters like Brinklebaum.
Yeah, I'm glad Kenan Thompson finally landed a role outside of SNL.
I think Brinklebaum was a great foil to the Grinch. I enjoy that we got to learn about the Grinch's backstory, how he was in an orphanage.
Outside of the story and the characters, just how the movie looked and how everything kind of behaved in the animation all worked really well. The world was just really well built out. There were so many kinds of transportation. I was very into that.
Everything was just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I came out of this movie so excited.
It was a very visually stimulating time.
Even though this film was 3D, it still had the same visual style as the first one. The mountains are the same craggliness. I really enjoyed that. Also, all the fur on all the Who's looked great.
All the fur on everything. I like how the Grinch had a fur suit to go over his fur. That was a really nice touch to make it so he wasn't naked.
Everything just looked so pretty. The only gripe that I have with the animation is that during scenes with huge camera moves, there was way too much motion blur and it kind of made me sick.
The only thing that I really disliked about this movie was the music. They updated the You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch song with a weird hip-hop version, and that song does not adapt very well to weird hip-hop versions.
You're a mean one. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel. Mr. Grinch.
I really didn't like it. It took me out of it because it was playing in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna like this movie.
Some other things that are lacking that the original had going for it.
Okay.
Slithering.
Oh my god, that slithering was so weird. And they used the exact same shot twice.
Yeah, I know. The new one could have gone for more slithering.
Yep. It was also missing how everyone spoke in rhyme. I don't think it needed that. That was just a thing that was kind of part of the charm of the old one.
I think the narrator
rhymed. Did
rhymed.
rhyme. It definitely couldn't have kept the rhyming going for an hour and a half, though. I'm glad they didn't try to make everything rhyme. In contrast to that, there were a lot of really good callbacks to the original. I think one of my favorites being, in the original, he uses a magnet to pull all the nails out of the wall, and he's a very inventive person. And this movie just went crazy with the inventions.
The way that the Grinch stole Christmas, I'm shook. He's like the Iron Man of Christmas. Some small additional callbacks where he made the Santa suit in the same way.
Yeah, that was
and
nice.
then when he's ready to go, Max just
Digs into the ground.
Yeah. Those were definitely really nice homages to the TV special. That has such a special place in everyone's hearts, except for mine. Clearly my heart is 79 times too small. I just loved the way that the Grinch stole Christmas. It was so visually compelling and just so much fun. This film was so much fun.
It was refreshing to see something I liked in the theater, which it's been a while now.
I honestly don't know why the film is getting so much hate.
Neither do I. I mean, I get why it's not like getting amazing reviews, but it's fine. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. Stop being so mean.
Yeah, stop being a Grinch.
In context of the movies I've seen recently, it was just amazing. But I do have to put it in relation to, you know, my overall impression of movies. And I think Illumination can be more creative than doing a remake of something. Despicable Me was a pretty original and creative idea. But I think with a remake, they did the best that they could. There aren't many remakes that I watched and I'm like, I really liked that at times better than the original. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 foot pole.
That explanation was very practical, but I'm gonna give it anywhere from an 8 to a 9 foot pole.
All right.
I just really liked it. I just thought it chose to explore some really interesting emotions.
Yeah.
How negativity can pervade your life, especially when everyone else around you is so positive about everything.
It makes you feel worse for feeling negative.
Right.
And so you feel more negative.
If you're looking for a good family film, I would definitely recommend seeing The Grinch.
I think kids will love it. They'll laugh. They'll like the visuals. And I think parents will like it for its callbacks to the original. It might make them feel like a kid again. Thank you for watching this episode of Movie Versus, where we liked a movie. We'll be back soon with another episode. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you can be reminded when we upload a new video.